streak maybe underrated, just the consistency?
Well, I mean, you just look, see how many people haven't been able to do that. It's hard. That's amazing to me. I mean, it really is. That level of consistency is rare. It's hard to win. Really, really hard to win. I mean, all you got to do is watch. This is college football. It is really hard. Just look around the nation each week. Each week I take my little pole and I go whoosh, and rip it up. And I got to start over. You know why? Because it's college football. And you think you got this thing figured out, and boom. It's very, very difficult to have that level of consistency, because everybody's good. And everybody we play is capable of beating us. I mean, we're not some juggernaut that just shows up, and can beat everybody. We got to play well. We got to take care of the ball. We can't have mental errors. We got to impact the game in special teams. We got to be the least penalized team. We got to have more big plays than the opponent, not give up big plays. Those are the things that we talk about. Win that turnover margin, and that's what it takes for us to win. And so to be able to consistently do that, I mean, and I think the other one, we've had 11 games since that time, and since 2011, that have been decided by a touchdown or less, and we're 10-1 in those games. So these guys, they understand how to win, and they know what it takes. You don't have that type of streak without some consistency in place and a certain culture in place. So, I mean, just there's very few teams out there. Maybe Alabama, and they've kind of been probably the most consistent team in the country over the last however long since Coach Saban's been there. Yeah, they've won 58 in a row, so there you go. But I bet it drops off pretty doggone quick after us, like real quick. That's a hard thing to do. So, all I can tell you is we respect every opponent. We prepare for every opponent as if it's truly the biggest game of the season. And, I think that mentality is what's allowed us to have that type of consistency.
How much more fun is day-to-day life within the program when you're at the point you're at now as opposed to if you were 5-2 and ranked 25th, when you kind of still have all your hopes and dreams ahead of you?
Well, it's easier to go get a haircut. I don't get as much bad mail. It's great. Fun's in the winning. That's what I say all the time. Everything's good. But I also understand, how quick that turns on you. And you stay humble, you stay hungry, you stay focused. Man, I'm never satisfied. I want to be the best, and we've been really, really close. I want this program to be on top, and so it's just a daily grind to try to get better. Each and every day. Keep your foot on the pedal. That's what we do. Put it in the left lane and go. And we don't look back. And whatever happens along the way, learn from it, grow from it, good or bad, and keep moving.
Coach, that halftime speech that you gave on the field at Miami's been played out a bunch of times on national TV, where you're talking about you guys do things the way Clemson does things and not to worry about the guys on the other sideline. Have you had any feedback from anybody, recruits, anybody else that have seen that?
No, and that's the type of thing. I hate that stuff. I hate that stuff because it's like, you got anything you do nowadays. It's like everybody has, throws a camera around, and it's, first of all, it's a terrible setup down there. It's Bush League. They shouldn't have two teams going out the same place. It's just not. You got, bickering and all this stuff going on and a distraction before the game. I wasn't out there, dressed that early, and then you got all this stuff in the game, and now we got to all go through the same. It's just. It's not smart. And my thing was, first of all, we're going to stay right here until they get off the field. And I just didn't like, some of the chippiness that I saw from our guys. I don't care what they do. That's not my responsibility. My responsibility is not to coach Miami. My responsibility is Clemson, and I didn't like what I was seeing. I didn't like, the response from some of our guys. We're better than that. It's not what we're about. And, it was just, an opportunity because of the situation, hey, you know what, we're going to address this right now. And we're not going to have a distraction like that. Let's play the game. Let's play the game the right way. Let's set a good example. There's a lot of kids. There's a lot of people that are watching and paying attention. And, I want us to be better than that. I mean, I want to win. I want to kill the opponent. I want to crush them. But I want to do it, the right way. And, feel good about how we win. And again, just it's always I teach. That's what I do. I mean, I'm a teacher, a coach, and you have opportunities to coach and teach every day. And I just coach them like my 3 sons. I don't do anything different here than I do at home in the Swinney house. Every situation is an opportunity to teach. These are young people that need to grow up. They got a lot to learn, and they don't know. I mean, if they could do it all without us, then what the heck are we there for? It's called parenting or coaching or teaching or whatever. And so, it was just an opportunity to kind of reinforce who we are and the way we do things.
Did you see or hear instances of your players instigating any of the chickens?
No, I just it doesn't matter who instigated it. It just, we don't need to, again, be emotional. Channel the emotion the right way. Play the game. Don't talk about it. Be about it. That's what I tell these guys all the time. Talking about it don't get it done. How about spend your time preparing? What we do on Saturday is a result of what we do Monday through Friday. We ain't gonna talk ourselves into anything. That's Bush League. You better get yourself ready and go play and execute, because that's what's gonna win games. Bunch of talking ain't gonna win games. So it's a waste of energy.
Your brand in the state of Florida has been pretty solid for the last decade or so. But when you go into that part of the state and make a statement like y'all did, can you quantify how much that'll help recruiting moving forward?
Well, we also got 70 hung on us down there in the same place, and had a great recruiting class after that. I think you take the good with the bad. It certainly doesn't hurt us, that's for sure. But I think that one game's not going to determine who we are from a recruiting standpoint. I don't think anybody's sitting out there going, I'm going to Clemson now because they killed Miami. I think people are going to come to Clemson because we have a great program. We have a consistent program. We graduate our players. It's a great place to go to school. It's the way college ought to be. You can't have a better environment than what we have here at Clemson, and certainly can't have a better game environment for what our guys are blessed to play with, play in each and every week. That's why people come to Clemson. They're not going to come. Winning matters. We've got to, but one game, I don't think that that's a factor.
Obviously, in a situation like what just happened this past weekend, there's a lot of empathy for a coach who loses a job over one game. You and Coach Golden were close there for a few seconds after the game. Did it enter your mind this would be the last time? No. I'm happy in the moment for our team, and we won the game, and he was very gracious. Just said you guys played flawless, and good luck the rest of the way. And but just like everybody else, heard the news at whatever Monday or whenever that was, and I hate it, but that's just it's a sad state of affairs. It comes with the territory. It's not like it used to be. Where you maybe evaluate the totality of a season and things like that. It just isn't that way anymore. Social media gets people hired, fired, and retired quick. Just like that. Because it's just a overwhelming swell of emotion, good, bad, or whatever. And unless you got people with thick skin in those decision-making roles, it happens all the time. How many coaches? When did you ever see this many coaches without jobs in the middle of a season? It's like
the trend now, and it's sad. But that's the way it is with the amount of money that's involved, and win right now, the expectations, shoot first, ask questions later mentality that we got. It's just the way it is, but I hate it, because these are people, and I think every coach knows that when you get in this business, I mean, you're going to be criticized to the nth degree. You're never going to make people happy. You're never going to please everybody. You better have some thick skin. You're only as good as your last win. It's just the way it is, and try not to get too high, try not to get too low. But at the end of the day, these are people. And Al Golden is as good a person as there is in the business. He's a good man. He's a really good football coach. He's got a great family. And you just, you hate to see things like that play out on a big stage. There's a lot of people out there in the world who their job doesn't work out, but they don't have to live that out in front of the entire universe. But that just comes with it. So I feel for him and his family. But like I said, he's a heck of a coach. He'll land on his feet, and for whatever reason, it didn't work. And that's just the way it is.
How do you improve on Saturday?
How do I improve on last Saturday?
How did the team improve on last Saturday?
Oh, we got a lot we can improve on. I mean, it's, as I said, it's never as good as it seems. I mean, we made a lot of mistakes in the game. We had our quarterback got pressured a couple of times, even though we didn't give up the sacks. We didn't pick up a couple of twists like we needed to. We missed a few plays in the passing game that I thought we could have made. Defensively, we busted a couple of times. We turned early in the game. They run a switch route, and we got one guy clamping, and it should have been a banjo. So we got mistakes that can cost us. We got some things we can clean up inside. There was a couple other sacks we should have had if we play a little better technique. There's things in special teams. We turn it over, fumble the ball. Ray's got to grow up in that regard. He's very talented. We missed an extra point. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can improve on. But that game, as I tell our guys, yesterday's touchdowns don't win today's game. Last year's team doesn't win for this year's team. It's all about this game and being great this Saturday, trying to find a way to be better in NC State. Last week is over.
Coach, you talked about the championship programs you've been on, going back to when you were a player. How does the esprit de corps, the chemistry on this team compare to some of those teams? Are there some intangible characteristics that you see in common? Is it primarily just the leadership? Yeah,
they like each other. They like to practice. They like to prepare. They're an easy group to focus. Again, the leadership, I think that's always critical. The type of people that you have in that, the veteran roles on your team is probably understated. But I think they appreciate each other. I think there's a genuine love for everybody on this team. It's one of the things I told them in the very beginning. The key to our season was to love your teammates. Serve your teammates. Have a great appreciation for a guy like Collins Malden, who's a fifth-year senior, who's our scout team defensive end, who gives great effort every single day, and he's not going to play on Saturday. Have a great appreciation for that guy. Have maybe your role is whatever your role is. Bloom where you're planted. If you're a special teams guy and that's your role this year, then man, be the best at whatever it is you're doing. And so I think our guys have a good grasp of that. There's an unselfishness on this team that I like, but there's an edge to these guys too. They get after each other. They respect each other, but we'll have a scuffle here and there. They compete. I have to be careful sometimes because if I put the ball down, they're gonna go. I mean, this is a whoa group. We don't have to say sick 'em. These old boys, we gotta whoa them down a little bit because that's just how they're wired. And again, that's how we train them all year long. So that's what I like about these guys, and those are some of the characteristics that I think you have to have in place to win at a high level. I mean, you got to enjoy the preparation. I mean, you got to love the preparation. You can't just love game day. I mean, you have to be ready to go and understand that that it's there's a price to be paid. You got to earn it.
Rushing for 416 as vindicating as it gets for the offensive line.
Vindicating, I don't know. Vindicating, I'm not sure I like that word. Satisfying, I mean, it's fun to run for 400 and something yards. These guys, I don't think they got to vindicate anything. These guys have played well all year. I think that was the question coming into the season, and my comment at the beginning of the year was, I think by December, the strength of our team is going to be our offensive line. And it's just awesome to see it play out. We all those guys can play. We have never been in the situation we're in with offensive line. And they've just gotten better and better and better. And these are a bunch of young guys. And we got some other guys that are going to be, coming in and joining this group. And then they're led by, Mack and Norton and Gore. Those three guys have done a great job of leading this group. Jay and what he's done. So, these guys, to be able to first of all, it's never happened in the history of Clemson football, to have a season where you threw for 400 and something yards in a game and you had a game where you rushed for 400 and something yards. I've never been a part of that, and it's never happened in 100 and something years of Clemson football. So that's pretty doggone impressive to me. You might think of Georgia Tech rushing for 400 yards, but you're not going to think of them throwing for 400 yards. Most teams aren't built to be able to do both. And to have a football team that has the ability to do what we need to do to win a game, whether it's run or throw, is a lot of fun to coach. But it all starts with those guys up front. Their ability to get the plan down each and every week, to protect, to create running lanes, and to see their confidence. And that, to me, you talk about chemistry, whoever asked it, that group right there, the chemistry of that room and the job that Robbie has done with them, tremendous.
Do you envision DJ Reader's role expanding this week?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, he's a great player. He's a starter for us, so, he's certainly going to continue to work his way in there more and more. You're talking about an elite guy at his position. He's an NFL guy, a guy that's played a lot of football, a ton of experience. We're not going to get worse by having him back. That's for sure.
Someone asks this question almost regularly every couple of weeks about the ability of one freshman or another to handle the big stage. When you're looking at guys, when you're putting together your recruiting lists, how critical is it to get guys from successful programs, high school programs?
I think if all things are even, that's great. That you can go get a Mitch Hyatt from North Gwinnett High School or and be a great player from a great program. It's got a tradition and all that type of stuff. But you also get guys like Stanton Seconder that came from a small school. So Zach Giella, who came from a small school, who's going to be a great player. It's not always going to work out that way. I'm thinking long term. I'm not thinking about the quick fix and freshmen coming in and being Mitch Hyatt. That hadn't happened since 1944, whatever. So I don't really think in those terms. I'm just thinking about, how does a guy, does he have the aptitude, the ability, the character, the work ethic, the will, the desire, the academic ability, on and on and on, to fit our program and develop into a guy that can help us win. I'm very patient. And the reason is because I've been doing this long enough to know that you're going to get a guy like Vic Beasley from a small school in Georgia that's going to leave here as the 8th pick in the draft. You're going to get a guy like Gaines Adams that played 8-man football and left here as the 3rd or 4th pick in the draft. You're going to get a guy like Barry Richardson from Wando, who's going to come in here and everybody thinks he's going to redshirt, ends up starting for you as a true freshman at some point. And then I've been around and see guys like Sammy Watkins where you just kind of add water and shake it up and go. It's just, Deshaun Watson. I mean, I've seen it, the whole deal. You know, Kelly, just because Kelly Bryant developmentally wasn't where Deshaun Watson was coming out of high school, that doesn't mean they're not going to end up at the same spot. You know, that's why they call us coach. So I don't really get caught up in all that stuff. I just want the best players that fit who we are and what we do. Man, I wouldn't take anything for Tig Willer from Loris High School. Quandon Christian from Lakeview. Man, those guys were jewels. How about B.J. Goodson from Lamar? Small program, you know. Yeah, it's great if you get a guy that comes from, you know, Grayson High School, you know, that's been exposed to maybe a higher level of competition. But football players, or I've had people ask me that. Sometimes they'll say, well, do I need to move my son from here to over here? And I'm like, no, he just needs to be great where he is. And, you know, coaches will recognize talent. And, you know, our team is made up of that all across the board. So our job is, once we get them here, wherever they are, to coach them up and to develop them and teach them. You look at a Cody Sensabaugh, who really didn't play here till his 5th year. And, you know, he's 3rd-year starter in the NFL now. Guys just get better. And so it's just, that's the fun part to me. And what you don't ever know, you know, what happens in the recruiting process is so many people assume because of rankings or where a guy is that a guy's just going to walk in and he's just going to be, you know, this great player. And if all of a sudden he's not doing what he needs to do, then it's like, okay, well, he's not as good as we thought. No, it's just there's guys transition differently. And you don't ever really know that until you start coaching a guy. And you know, how does he get overwhelmed? I mean, this is the first time these guys are away from home, different environment, different culture, different friends, pressures of school, very structured, and a lot of demands on them, and some guys just handle it better than others. But at the end of the day, it's just about seeing it through.
Anybody got anything else?
All right.